And what draws you back to Cabaret? Doesn't theater give you a chance to connect with an audience?
Well, it's a different experience. The reason why I love Cabaret is because, and it's really one of the scariest things, and at the same time it's really the most fulfilling because you don't have any character to hide behind. It's just you and the audience. So in that way, it's kind of nerve-wracking. But once you get up there on the stage and have this opportunity to share yourself and the songs with an audience, it's quite a nice camaraderie.
Well, in the past, there was also the fact that in Cabaret you were in a much smaller room, so you didn't have to belt everything. But today there's miking all over Broadway shows. So has that changed that experience?
Well, no, but it's when you sort of assess just the physics of the space. It does really kind of inform the way you're going to perform. You know, you're not going to be screaming out when somebody's right in front of you having their salad, you know, as you would to play to the last balcony.
The last time you performed at the Carlisle, you'd won your first Tony for 42nd Street. Is it a different experience now, 7 years later, after all of that Broadway experience and a second Tony? Well,
I think it was, you know, of course it's equally as exciting, but it was different winning a Tony for Grey Gardens because I wasn't doing a revival, and it was something that I was in on from the ground floor, and so it had a special meaning. It wasn't any less important, but it was just a different kind of a
But
feeling.
Audiences are also coming with different expectations.
Well, when you ever do, you know,
more pressure on you, perhaps.
Well, in a way, but I also too spent my life really on the Broadway scene, particularly doing revivals. So you're always compared, you know, and you don't ever measure up necessarily to the person who originated the role. So,
well, I can't imagine anybody in the audience remembers Helen Morgan's version of Bill, except maybe from a record. But
yeah.
So you're allowed to come up with your own interpretation. How much interpretation can you do? I mean, you can do a lot in Cabaret, but I remember reading that I'm trying to remember which composer it was. He would be furious if people didn't sing the song exactly as he wrote it.
Well, I always try to
Richard
adhere.
Whiting, that's who it was.
Well, I always try to adhere to the music. You know, I don't really try to vary too much in that way. But you know, every once in a while, you'll be feeling an emotional moment that might dictate another note.
Well,
it's not in the music.
Do you sing differently for different composers? Bill,
yes,
for example, as
course.
Opposed to 42nd Street?
Exactly. That's it. You also are mindful of the period as well. And it just, you know, they produce different sounds.
But you also seem to sing in two vocal styles, one using more of your low range, a rich kind of sound, and then your mezzo, and then there's this coloratura thing that you do.
Yeah. Well, I just have been blessed with a wide vocal range. It's about three octaves or so, and then some. And it's always something that I've love to do. I love to sing. So, and I'm also interested in all sorts of kinds of music. So, this is a platform that I can really express all those different styles of music.
When you're on Broadway, you're performing a song in character. When you're in Cabaret, you are Christine Ebersole.
Yeah, but it's also Christine Ebersole expressing and conveying and communicating the emotion of the song and the message of the song.
I wonder how you react to things like, in a rave review, Stephen Holden saying, you're a hybrid of Bernadette Peters and a toned-down Madeline Kahn.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great compliment, and yet at the same time, I'm me. I consider it a great compliment. I love both of those ladies.
Well, writers love it when they're compared to Tolstoy and Joseph Conrad.
Well, I'm in good company then if I'm compared to those two ladies.
You pay homage to the late Eartha Kitt. She would have been performing at the Carlisle this winter. Is she at all an influence?
Well, yes. It's interesting. I've never met her. And yet I feel that she really influenced this particular endeavor at the Carlisle because this was her spot. This was when she was supposed to be performing, and then she took ill. And it was very last minute that I was called to fill in for her. So I feel that you know, I always believe in and feel the angelic presence of people that have gone before. I don't think they leave; they just leave their bodies. And I think that she's around, and certainly particularly just who she was as a person. You know, she didn't really follow the herd, and she was really a unique and you know, stood by her principles. And I think that's something to admire.